You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
Get ready for the greatest roast of all time, the Roast of Tom Brady, a Netflix live event happening May 5th. Hosted by Kevin Hart, the 7-time world champion gets his cleats held to the fire by famous friends and frenemies on an unforgettable night where everything is fair game. Tune in on May 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific time for the Roast of Tom Brady, live only on Netflix.
You ready?
Showtime.
On May 3rd, summer starts with The Fall Guy.
Let's do it later.
Let's drink a spicy margarita.
Make some bad decisions.
Yes!
Audiences are falling in love with the most entertaining film of the year.
Fall Guy.
Fall Guy?
Fall guy.
That's what the poster said.
See Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt in the movie critics say exists to make you happy.
Trying to make it out?
Nope.
Because I don't either. It's not what I'm into right now.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah.
The Fall Guy. Only in theaters May 3rd. Rated PG-13.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet, get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man who is inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.
Hey, what's up, gang? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess at gmail.com. Text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim live in Green Bay here to talk a little Packers tonight. Tim, tell these folks the secret to life, man.
Secret to life? Know the golden rule. Happiness is a choice. Choose happiness in your life. Choose to be positive.
Man, I tell you
That's
what,
the secret to life.
I was expecting some kind of sarcastic remark, spending so much time with Jacob and Emilio, but you actually hit me with a serious one. I like it, man. That's good stuff. So yeah, hey man, happiness is a choice, and you can choose to be positive, you could choose to be miserable. I'm going to choose to be positive. So
that's right.
Not perfect, not great at it, but that's the goal every day, man. Just have a little bit more fun today than we had yesterday. So
amen.
All right, let's do this. Let's go to the chat real quick. Give a shout out to United Bates. We got Greg in the house, Mr. Goat. We got Mick Knott. Good to see you in here, Mick. Appreciate you, buddy. Eric Sutherland, Ron Samville. Who else we got in here? Anyone else?
Eric Sutherland's got a pretty good secret to life too. I don't know if you saw that.
Hey, we can put that up there.
You probably run that one, yeah.
Secret of life, mind your effing business. There you go. Exactly. Yeah, but it's good to see everybody in here. M. Smitty in the house. We got Randy Cleavers, Mike Berry, CJN. Glad y'all joined us this evening. So let's do this, man. Let's give a quick shout out real quick. And Jacob will probably be joining us shortly. He's getting off of work, had to work a little bit later if I understood correctly. So he may be hopping on here in a second. Emilio, just want to give a shout out to Emilio and Jordan celebrating an anniversary. So congratulations.
Oh, congratulations. I love it.
Everybody, Tim, we've all got anniversaries coming up this month, don't we, man?
Yeah, I guess we all got together in May, huh? That's the deal.
Absolutely. You have to remind me again. It's hard to when you're from Kentucky. Numbers are tough, but me and Mandy got married in 2006. So how long is that?
That's like 18 years, brother.
18 years, and we've been together for 24 though. Because it took me – I was one of those guys. I was one of those dirt bags. It took a while to pop the question, but here we are. So I told her I'm only doing it once. But we'll make sure. All right, that's how this is going down. But, Jacob, what are you doing tonight, man? You just get off work or what?
Yeah, man. I ended up having to do a pretty long day. And to make things worse, stupid state of Minnesota decides every year that they're going to close down 94 to do road construction, and it just infuriates me. Can't tell you how much I hate that state.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So again, shout out to Emilio and Jordan celebrating their anniversary. Yeah, so cool getting to know him and looking forward to meeting Jordan as well. I know the way he's described Jordan, her and Mandy are going to hit it off big time, man. They're just a couple country girls that love animals and, running around on the farm barefoot is what it sounds like to me. So that's Mandy to a T, man. Eating a tomato right out of the garden. But speaking of tomatoes in the garden, let's give a shout out to what we're going to do. We got several different topics we're going to dive into. We're going to go rapid fire on some of these. I do want to have an extensive conversation about contracts in the NFL. We got an article pulled up from Spot Track. That it's a Spot Track or Spo Track. I've already forgotten. What is it, Jake?
I think it's Spot Track.
Spot Track. Okay. So we got an article pulled up with some of the higher paid positions in the league. And then I've got a secondary article too that's got the 5th-year option decisions this year. So kind of give you an idea. I immediately went to the tackle position. Like, okay, what's it going to cost us for Jordan Morgan that 5th year, right? How's that kind of playing out? That's what his play is going to be gauged off of the next 4 or 5 years, right? Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we're still around in 4 years. We'll have a conversation about that, right? So, but nonetheless, let's hit some news here. I think the Packers made this signing yesterday. Easton Butler tweeted this out, said the Packers are signing former 6th-round pick Lecitus Smith, I think is how you say the name, after a successful minicamp tryout. So immediately everybody's who? Perfect, Tim. Perfect trial. That's the first thing I said. So I pulled the PFF grade up here. And again, PFF isn't everything, but it's just a quick measurable, right? We could take a look and see how he stacked up, across the league here. So he was a 6th-round pick, the 216th overall pick in 2022 by the Arizona Cardinals out of Virginia Tech. 6'3", 314 is the size, the height and weight they've got him at there. Looks like he only played in a handful of games, like 5 games in 2022, if I remember correctly. In 2022, his grade on offense was 44.8. His run blocking grade was 46.6. His pass blocking grade is 38.1. It looks like he took every one of his snaps at right guard as well. So kind of shows you they're just bringing in a bunch of different bodies, throw a bunch of stuff against the wall, see what sticks as far as plugging and playing in that right guard position. And Tim and I, we looked at this before you got on here, Jacob. I'll pull it up real quick. I think this is why they're kind of scattershotting that right guard position. I know people love to bash on PFF, but isn't it funny? The draft picks the Packers made, I don't want to say everyone. There was many people that was like, Rasheed Walker's good. You're not going to be able to find anything better than him in the draft. And lo and behold, you look up at the PFF grades and you go, okay, what are the big problem spots? Obviously, right guard, center that we talked about, and of course, left tackle there as well. Now, obviously, Elton Jenkins still coming off of that ACL, trying to get his feet under him. I think you're going to see a big bounce back year from him. If you grade out in the 60s, it's acceptable in my opinion. If you're paying someone top contract, top cap hit, top salary, if you will, for their respective position, and they're grading out in the 60s, that's what I have a problem with, right? And that's why when you look at Rasheed Walker and his 66.3 PFF grade at left tackle, you immediately go, okay. And again, PFF isn't everything, but it's like, all right, is he the tackle of the future? Now, it doesn't mean you got to go out and reach to fill that spot, but it simply means if the best player available on the board is sitting there when you pick and he's a left tackle, i.e. Jordan Morgan, then it makes a whole lot of sense. But if you look at Sean Ryan at right guard, 49.3, the lowest grade on the entire offensive line. You've seen it on the tape too. The dude was looking at the quarterback more than he was looking at the guy he was trying to block most of the season. But this just kind of explains why you would bring someone in like Lecitus Smith as far as trying to fill in that right guard spot there. And you look at these grades, Tim, I think Jacob Monk's got a shot, bub.
Yeah. Starting to understand why Goody made the moves he made in this draft for sure. And, more signings and more movement to come in the next few weeks and months, right? I mean, what are we at right now? We've got to be pretty much maxed out on the roster. Are they allowed to have like 90 right now or something?
I believe so, yeah. And I think they said they signed 2 more receivers. We don't have those screen grabs tonight, but it sounds like they're going to have to cut a couple people. But, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so we'll have some names coming and going here. with some regularity. But this is the beginning of that great time of year that we all love, right? Where we see this big grouping of players and we're trying to find out who this team's going to be and, lead up through training camp and the preseason. And then we ultimately get down to that 53 and the practice squad. So it's a good time of year to just kind of assess and look at things like this and see where we are. And yeah, clearly that O-line, man, that interior is something that we got to work on for sure. And I think we've already got some pieces here in this draft that are going to help.
I agree. And Jacob, when you look at Josh Jacobs' grade there, we just talked about when you're getting paid one of the highest cap hits at your respective position and you're grading out in the 60s, that's kind of a tough pill to swallow. The beautiful thing about Josh Jacobs, 2022, he was the best running back in the league, right? 2023, he takes a step back to a 65.0 PFF grade, ranking 50th amongst the top 59 halfbacks in the league, if I'm understanding that correctly. The other thing, when you look at the money guaranteed, I think it was $12 million basically guaranteed, which essentially is you could cut bait with him after this year and there's no long-term commitment, right? Now, if he comes out here and balls out, he may want to try to get some of that contract guaranteed. That's where you can play the cash over cap game a little bit, maybe lower that cap hit a little bit, give him some more guaranteed money where it's win-win for both parties. But you can talk about Josh Jacobs here if you want to, Jacob, or like I said, Sean Ryan. What sticks out to you here when we look at this offensive PFF? PFF grades on the offensive side of the ball as far as the starting 11. And, of course, there's going to be a rotation here. We all know that you're going to see Dontavian Wicks in there. You're going to see Bo Melton in there as well. But what sticks out to you, man?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the center and the right guard position there. I fully expect 3 of those 5 guys, being Tom, Walker, and Jenkins, to take considerable steps forward this year. I would hope that all of them are grading in the 70s at least, with Tom even, surpassing that, because I think he is going to get better and better.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I would do. I mean, everybody, it's very en vogue to try to say, hey, we got to run Myers out of town. This is the last year of his contract. If you're ever going to get a Josh Myers that's a decent player, it's going to be this year. You know what I mean? His livelihood depends on it. With Sean Ryan, I think I'm over the Sean Ryan experience, to be honest. I would much rather slide in Mr. Monk or Mr. Glover, whoever, somebody like that could possibly fill in. And I mean, 49.3, that to me screams like we got better talent somewhere. And we've given that guy quite a long time to try to get his act together, being Ryan. And I just don't see it. I don't see it working out. And that's coming from a guy that always is pulling for, kind of the underdogs. But I just don't see it.
Yeah. Jacob's like,
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Hey, the floor's got to start somewhere. And when you hear like Brian Bulaga talk on the Homer Hour, it seemed like when I heard him talk last year when he was with Wildy on his pod several times, early in the season, he was really down on Josh Myers. Toward the end of the year, he kind of was, okay, he's playing better, but still it's like, this doesn't feel like they're going to extend him. They're not going to, they don't see him in the, as far part of the future. Now, if you can get him on a discount, absolutely, but there's no reason Josh Myers is going to take a huge discount when he has an opportunity to test the market. And chances are, if the Packers took him in the second round, there were other teams looking to trade up and get him around that spot as well. So he's probably going to want to test the market and probably get a pretty good chunk there.
Does it seem a little stupid that we didn't try to retain Runyon?
I don't think so. Yeah, I understand what you're saying on the surface, but to me, him and Sean Ryan were right there in the same boat, man. I mean, he graded out just as bad as like a Josh Myers. So I think it's just one of those things that, like, I'm glad you brought it up, because Josh Myers is exactly where John Runyon was last year. If he comes out and he continues to play at a 54.7 or whatever, use your favorite side, right? If he comes out and plays at the same level he played at last year, and more specifically the first half of the season as opposed to the second half of the season, probably going to be a similar thing. You just let him walk. I just wasn't that impressed with John Runyon last year, which sucks because 2 years ago, Jacob, he was good. He was solid. Yeah. It was just like he fell off a cliff, man.
I guess that was my point, is maybe, I don't know, the amount of money he got to, was it Philly that he went to?
Yeah, he got a good chunk too, man.
He got a lot of money. I mean, that's the thing.
He went to the Giants.
Did he go to the Giants?
Oh,
yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I like you talked about, I don't see Myers is gonna take a pay cut to stay with the Packers when he can go out and test the market and get, a pretty decent bag for being a guy that's kind of up and down player. So yeah, I don't know what to think. I really do think that the more I've seen Jacob Monk. That guy's just a beast, man. He just seems. I hope that we could slide him into that right guard position.
Here's the thing. I have a hard time believing he would perform worse than Sean Ryan's grade suggests he did, right? Newman can go back to Sunville.
Goodbye, Newman.
That's another guy. Like literally 2 years ago, he was a starting offensive lineman. He was playing pretty solid, and
he just backslid, man.
Yeah.
That is weird. We've had that is weird to think about that. I think it's been kind of pushed under the rug because we've had decent guys like Elton Jenkins and Zach Tom, but at the same time, we have had a bunch of guys that regressed when they got here. It seems like the longer they were with the team, the worse they got, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I hope that's the opposite with Rasheed Walker. I hope we get a beastie year out of him, and he just continues to improve and grow.
And if the coaching staff, and more specifically head coach Matt LaFleur, is kind of seeing it in the same light, like if he were to look at these grades and go, yeah, that's pretty close to what we got on him, he's got to be thinking maybe Luke Butkus isn't the guy moving forward if you have another year like that. Because sooner or later, you do got to kind of look at the coaches a little bit like, okay, this just, you can be one of the best scheme coaches in the league, but not be a great developmental coach. I'm not suggesting that's Coach Butkus, but something just isn't clicking. And again, it isn't just, you're just going off the PFF grades. Go watch the tape from last year, man. There was times it was like, man, right guard and center was tough to watch, especially in the first half of the season. Rasheed Walker, an excellent pass blocker. The thing that brings his grade down is the run blocking, which, lo and behold, you go out and you draft Jordan Morgan, who's an excellent run blocker, got some of, if not the best feet of any offensive lineman in the draft this year. Just quick, agile, the whole 9 yards, just a excellent ball player there. I kind of feel like that's what they're looking at there is, okay, let's create competition at right guard. If Jordan Morgan runs away with the left tackle spot, then you could try Rasheed Walker somewhere else. If you were to kick Rasheed Walker to right tackle, can he play right tackle? I don't know. I'm not going to lie and BS to you guys to say I feel comfortable that Rasheed Walker could play right tackle. I have no reason to think he could because
have we ever seen him on the interior at a guard position?
I don't think we have, Tim. I really don't. I think it was just he was buried on the depth chart his rookie year, right? And then last year, of course, with David Bakhtiari being out for the year again after week 1, that was something else that really happened that was weird. Coach Stenovich, the offensive coordinator who used to be the offensive line coach before he got promoted after Nathaniel Hackett left the team. Yeah, exactly. Missing Stenovich, you think. So maybe Stenovich did so much better with the offensive line before he was promoted to offensive coordinator, and there was kind of a disconnect there. But, gosh, I was going somewhere with that. Where was I going? There was something I was going to say. Rasheed Walker. He was buried on the depth chart. If you guys remember, Yosh Nijman was the backup left tackle. Yeah. And Coach Stenovich said something last year where he said, we created an open competition for that left tackle spot. And unfortunately, Yosh didn't rise to the occasion. And the fact that he said that at a press conference was like, whoa, that's kind of a shot.
And then he's not a Packer anymore.
Exactly. So that's kind of Rasheed Walker. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think he's playing great football to where it's like, wow, yeah, he's really propelled to a starting left tackle caliber player. You see, guys, he's graded as a 44th best tackle in the league. You would want him to be somewhere in that top 32, seeing that he's a left tackle. You want your best, obviously your best tackle to be the left tackle, especially with a right-handed quarterback. But again, great, more than capable of being a pass blocker at the left tackle position. It's just the run blocking it was kind of tough to watch.
Yep.
There was a couple plays here or there, but when people defend an offensive lineman's play and they pick out 1 or 2 plays and go, see, look, he can run block. And it's like, all right, but you got 2 out of how many snaps?
Right.
How many times have we seen him whiff at the second level? And they got so used to David Bakhtiari. I thought I was just a Bakhtiari fanboy until I heard Mike Wall talk about him. Mike Wall was, having a conversation with him. He was just like, this dude he is the perfect tackle. He does everything perfect. Technique, he doesn't panic. He's got quickness even for an older guy when he's healthy, of course. So
are we Nick Knight here? That's a good thing to bring up. Are we sleeping on Luke Tenuta? Because I know they loved the guy up until he had that injury.
It's a great point. It's definitely possible. Now we got to see, how much rust has he got, from not playing basically a full season last year, right? He was out pretty much the entire year. Didn't he come from Buffalo? Am I thinking right, Jacob?
think that's correct. I don't want to say for sure. Chat, help us out there.
Yeah, I think that was the last place he played, if I remember correctly. But since we're talking about tackles here, why don't we do this? Why don't we key up this quick video? This is from the Arizona spring game, and it was Jordan Morgan just being interviewed on the sideline, kind of in his element, right? I don't know if you guys like this is. I think this is called the blue and red game with Arizona. One of my favorite things this time of year. People say, "Oh man, I can't wait for football to start." Football's already started for me, man. We got UFL, which has just been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed watching the UFL. And then also you got all the college spring games. So I'll go watch the blue-white game for Kentucky. I'll go watch the blue-gold game with Notre Dame. I'm trying to get into Wisconsin a little bit more because I know we got a lot of Wisconsin fans in here. So I'd like to be a little more knowledgeable there and talk a little college ball with our listeners. But it's so cool to see these players go back, especially once they've been drafted, to go back to their spring game. And you've got all these young recruits coming in for the spring game, and they're trying to get them to sign their letter of intent. And you've got, hey, look, yeah, here's Jordan. Just got drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the first round. You know, here's another reason why you should come to our school. But let's hear what Jordan Morgan had to say here at the spring game. This quick little interview on the sideline.
Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. We all have smartphones, and we all know they're pretty amazing, but they also can be amazingly distracting, especially when we're around other people. So US Cellular wants us to reset our relationship with our phones by putting down our phones for $5. That's right, a company that sells phones wants us to put down our phones. And to see what we find, learn more at uscellular.com/built-for-us.
Mother's Day is around the corner. Find the perfect gift for the mom in your life with a stunning piece of jewelry from Blue Nile. From timeless pearls to dazzling gemstones, Blue Nile has something she'll adore. Need it fast? Most items can ship overnight. Plus, enjoy guaranteed free shipping and returns. Don't miss our special Mother's Day deals. Save big on the season's most beautiful trends. For a limited time, get up to 50% off by going to BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Down to Mackenzie Hamilton, who's standing by with Green Bay and their first-round draft choice, Jordan Morgan. Go ahead, Mackenzie.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Jordan, thank you for your time today. I know you're a busy guy. I'm sure your phone has been blowing up. How does it officially feel to be a Green Bay Packer?
It feels so good. I mean, I can't wait to get out there, go to Lambeau Field. I mean, I've studied David Bakhtiari for a while, and I mean, I can't wait to get out there. And like he says, he's going to pass the torch, and I'm going to show out, and I'm going to protect Jordan Love.
You were here in Tucson Friday night. Who were you celebrating with?
The family, the close family. I mean, that's my rock, and that's who I always want by my side when I'm down, when I'm up, no matter what, they're always there for me.
I know your brother is a big reason why you started playing football and also a reason why you continued to play the sport. What was that like, sharing that moment with him especially?
I mean, it was so sentimental. It's a core memory for sure. I mean, he came up to me crying, and that was honestly funny because he doesn't cry, so he kind of shed a tear, and I was laughing at him. But I mean, deep down, it's so special to me and so special to him and everybody in the family.
Thinking back to just a year ago, you were recovering from your ACL. You were sidelined for Arizona's spring game. What have you learned about yourself and your determination over this past year?
I've learned that I'm a very patient person. I mean, it took a while for me to realize, but I mean, after realizing I had to sit out for so long and the process was going to take so long, I had to just think and sit and talk to my parents and understand that it takes a lot of patience.
And that moment is worth it now. You're born and raised in Tucson. What message do you want to leave with Tucson before you head to Green Bay next week?
Man, I love Tucson. I mean, I'm born and raised here. My family's from here. I'm going to always be here. I'm going to live here. No matter whenever I live here, I'm going to live here. I appreciate the city of Tucson for having my back no matter what happened through the football season, through anything. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you so much for your time, Jordan.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. So another cool thing about Jordan Morgan and his time at Arizona, I seen another interview where it talked about all the stuff he did in the community. I think he got some kind of award for doing the most community service, not the community service my family's used to, but like volunteer community service that just giving back to the community. Just seems like one of those guys. He's going to be a guy. Here's a guy that's going to make a difference in the community of Green Bay. Tim.
I know the wounds are still a little fresh, but I'm getting super Aaron Jones vibes from this guy, personality wise, demeanor wise. Expressing gratitude and appreciation for, the opportunity that he has and, what he's doing right now at this point in his career. I think we're going to see Jordan Morgan emerge as one of those type of pillars of the Green Bay Packers here as we go through the next few years here in the future. And, while we're on the tackle subject, we heard Luke Tenuta's name brought up. Caleb Jones was brought up in the chat. Those two guys right there, in my opinion, they're in the same boat. This is the year for them. You're either gonna find your way into this lineup somehow, or contributing, second, third down in the depth chart kind of guy, or you're probably not going to be here for the foreseeable future. So, you talk about competition, and you got these rookies, a lot of this young talent coming in. You got some guys that have been here a little bit and haven't really gotten over the hump. We talked about Sean Ryan too. I'm sure they'll be over that experience if he has another year, kind of like he had last year, this year. So, I'm excited to see what guys like Jordan Morgan and Mr. Monk can bring to this O-line, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah. What do you think of Jordan Morgan there, Jacob? Sounds like a well-spoken young man, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's really cool to see his personality. He was one of the guys that I didn't get to watch his interview because they had it basically going in opposite order. So I didn't actually get to watch his interview, and then I forgot to do it. So that's one of the first times that I've actually seen him kind of speak to the media. And yeah, he's very, very well spoken. You can tell anytime that they start like praising their family or God or anything like that, you can just tell like these kids are like been raised right, and I know that that's a massive, we talk about it all the time. You could be the best football player in the world. If your character is in the gutter, then the Packers don't want anything to do with you. And I love that about our organization, to be honest. And I think that like you talked about, Tim, that's exactly what I thought when I was listening to him talk. I'm like, man, he's going to have a football camp in Green Bay real quick, you know what I mean? Or he's going to be over there, donating his time at the hospital, or he's going to be doing stuff. He just seems like that type of guy. So I'd like to think too that if I ever was able to be in the NFL, like, why would you not just absolutely, spend a little bit of time here and there with the city that's giving you millions of dollars? I mean, and honestly, like, anything is, I hate saying it like this, but like, if you leave an impact on your city or your team or whatever, like, they take care of you for life. You know what I mean?
Especially in Green Bay.
In Green Bay, like, but yeah, really though, like, think about it. You don't pay for a meal, you don't pay for a beer, but like, it's more of like you got the community's back, they take care of you, and yeah, I just like that about our squad.
If you handle your business the correct way too, man, you can make a second career there.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the like John Kuhn. John Kuhn to me is like the epitome of the perfect Packer story, right? Shippingburg State, Pennsylvania, I think is where he went to school. Mm-hmm. And he ends up, I think he might have signed with Pittsburgh for a short time. Then he ends up in Green Bay, has a great career. Now he's doing media with the Packers. It's just living right in Green Bay, being a part of the media, being a part of the local, whatever it is, advertisements for, local car dealerships, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And just kind of embed yourself in the community, man. We're a bunch of fans. Of course we feel like this. Some of these players, I'm sure they're like, man, I can't wait to get back to my hometown. Yep. But Green Bay just seems like the perfect place to kind of, I don't know, man, just to lay root at, man. You know what I mean? And kind of set your foundation for your future and your legacy that you want to create after football too. So
yeah. I like what he said about when he was asked about, having to sit out and, coming off the injury and missing so much time and how grateful he was to be back and playing again. It's like, man, talk about something you got in common with QB1 already. Like if anybody knows what it's like to have to sit and not really get your shot, be so close yet so far away. I mean, it's Jordan Love. So I think these two guys are going to click for sure right away.
Yeah. Harry Cheese in the chat says, man, my biggest questions this preseason are going to be the lineup in the O-line, linebacker, and safety rooms, man. There's going to be a ton of competition there. There's no two ways about that, which is kind of cool.
It's going to be a lot of linebackers and a lot of safeties.
Mm-hmm. No doubt, man. Jacob sent me this over, so we talk about the linebacker competition here. First of all, check out this picture of Edgerrin Cooper with Coach Campanile. You got to love it. Out there in the rain. Looks like he's taking him under his wing. That's
two. We need. There we go.
Right here. These are two badass human beings is what you got right here. These are two – these are just,
here's some guys.
A man's men, I guess you could say. They're tougher than anything you'll find in aisle 8 at Home Depot, I promise you. You get down in the Milwaukee tool section, get you a Sawzall, get you a grinder, get you an impact drill, whatever you need, right? No matter what you look for, we love Milwaukee Tools. We're trying to get them to sponsor the show. Keep the music going. I'm cutting a promo here, Tim. What are we doing, sir? No, you're good. I'm just joking.
Hey, funny enough, I was at Home Depot today with the missus.
Hey, there's nothing better, man. Nothing better. Just walking around with an empty buggy at Home Depot, waiting to burn up the credit card, man. That's what it's all about right there. So, but yeah. So, what's that, Jake?
I'm just saying, Home Depot is a quality store. I know that I shop there twice a day.
So, hey,
really going hard at Home Depot. We're gonna get that contract.
If you pay me, I'll shop there. I don't care what it is, right? I mean, you've listened to the pod. We'll promote any kind of product. Anyway, so
yeah, great shot right there, man.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool image, man. Edgerrin Cooper, we've heard him in the interviews too. He seems just like a really cool, laid back guy. Not like a cool, my name's Edgerrin. Just like he seems like a kid. You know what I mean? Like he's just got that youthful excitement, I guess you could say. Almost seems a little gullible until you get him on the football field. We've seen it all the way back to the high school clips. Dude will absolutely eat your lunch on the football field. But this is the screen grab that Jacob sent me yesterday, I think it was. Jacob, I'm going to let you read it here because this is one hell of a find. And obviously this is referring to the 2023 version of Edgerrin Cooper, and who was arguably the best linebacker in college football. The fact that we end up getting him at 45 is just wild. But go ahead, take it away, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about how I knew Edgerrin was good. I don't think we really understand and comprehended how good he was last year. I mean, he was not just flying around everywhere, in the run game and the pass rush. So anyways, PFF stable metrics for Texas A&M linebacker Edgerrin Cooper are insane. 98th percentile in the run stop percentage, 97th percentile in run defense grade, 96th percentile in coverage grade, 95th percentiles in both forced incompletion percentage and percentile box coverage grade. It's just like you can't get much better than that.
Got it on loop. So
and the thing is too, like Eric talked about, he lit up like a Christmas tree when they're like, hey, you like to hunt and fish, you know where you're going? And he's like, oh yeah, like some of the best bass fishing. He likes to hunt hogs. We talked about that. I know that's usually an Eric thing, but he might have to switch to doing some deer hunting or something like that. Maybe get him into some turkey hunting. Again, I got to reach out to him and tell him I got a lot of land, so let's do this.
Bro, speaking of turkey hunting, I seen a video the other day. One of you knuckleheads might have sent it to me. This guy with a shotgun goes to shoot a turkey at about, 20 yards. Missed it. Right? Fired a second shot. I don't know if it was a side-by-side double barrel or what. Fired a second shot. Missed it. Got so mad, took off running after the turkey. It was close enough. He tackled it and wrung its neck. That's how he missed it completely with the shotgun. It was unbelievable. And his buddy was
do you have to be to miss a target that big with birdshot at 20 yards?
Bro, his buddy was
filming. Do you have to be, man?
His buddy that was filming this whole fiasco was laughing his butt off, dude. It was hilarious. The camera's shaking. He's laughing so hard. It's awesome. That's really awesome. But yeah, so basically what Jacob's saying here is run stop percentage, run defense grade, coverage grade, forced incompletion percentage, and box coverage grade, all at least 95 percentile or higher. Like I said, 96 for the coverage grade, 97 for the run defense grade and 98th in percentile in run stop percentage. Again, he didn't play this well in 2022 and 2021. Let's hope 2023 is the Edgerrin Cooper. He has arrived, and he's going to continue to get better as he becomes a pro. Now, we don't expect him to grade out in the 90s like PFF at the NFL level. We know there's a big dramatic difference in the grade. But again, like we grade everything else when it comes to rookies in the league, no matter what the position is, anything 60 and above, you go, okay, we got us something. But if he comes out and he grades out in the 70s or somehow, some way grades out in the 80s, oh my gosh, man, I'm going to be insufferable when it comes to Chicago Bears fans. I promise you that. Because how many times have they tried to land a backer? They tried to draft one in Roquan Smith. Didn't work with him. He goes somewhere else. It works there, right? They go out and spend all that money on Tremont Edmonds, I think it is?
Yeah, Tremont
Edmonds. He completely flopped, to the best of my knowledge. It seems like he took a huge step back after arriving in Chicago. So, like Randy Cleaver says, I think we got us a great player here. I sure hope so, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Those are all important stats too, Tim. Run stop percentage, run defense grade, coverage grade, forced incompletion percentage, box coverage grade, everything across the board, man, really checks out. And the majority of the highlights we watched him was him doing that sugar spy, which wouldn't even be included in these really.
Dude, he's a menace anywhere in that area. He's just an absolute menace. And I love it. And I say that in a positive way. That's the best thing you can have for a linebacker like this, right? I mean, he's going to pair real nice with Quay. I feel like whoever the Mike ends up being, we'll figure that out. But when you see this, man, it gets me excited because we know how horrendously bad we've been against the run at times in recent memory. So when you see the run stop percentile and the run defensive grade is great. And then, being able to play anywhere and around in the box and get out and cover too is just phenomenal. So I'm really excited that he's a Packer, man. That was other than the Javon Bullard pick, I think we were jumping up and down pretty high for this one too, man. This was a great move by Goody.
Definitely. I know we got a herd of people in here right now. If you guys and gals would just take a quick second and hit that like button for us. We really appreciate it. It'll help boost the algorithm and help other Packer fans find this channel and find this content. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Sunday evening. It's a glorious Sunday evening here in Tennessee, man. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's been a great day. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Let's see, when we look at the defensive side of PFF here and just take a quick glance, obviously the rookies have not been inserted. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Everything we just talked about and what the chat mentioned, we already talked O-line and kind of how the PFF grades lined up there and where those camp battles are going to be. When we look at the defensive side of the ball, we mentioned safety and we mentioned linebacker, right? When you look at the linebacker position, Quay Walker, 58.5 was his PFF grade. McDuffie, 57.1. So they graded out 66th and 69th amongst 82 linebackers. So if you put Edgerrin Cooper in there, and let's say he grades out in the 60s, you've already gotten better at the linebacker position. Right now, I say better in a sense of compared to McDuffie or Walker. Now, last year, Devondre Campbell, I think he graded out in the 60s, if I remember correctly. But just something to kind of keep our eye on there at the linebacker position. I think Edgerrin Cooper plug and play here. If he grades out 60 or above, if he's in there, he's playing schematically sound. He's not making huge mistakes. Jeff Hafley's going to allow these guys to play aggressive. Maybe occasionally you'll mug him up. Whether it's in the A gap to do that sugar spy that they like to do and have him drop into coverage, or maybe they even put him out there in a 7 or a 9 tech outside of Gary's outside shoulder there. If he does play in McDuffie's place here, that would be a lot of fun to see happen too. So at the safety position as well, you're showing obviously Xavier McKinney. Boys, how does that look there at free safety? Does that not look pretty, that 87.8? Giggity. Very well said.
Yep. Yeah, and we can go ahead and just scratch Anthony Johnson Jr. off of that strong safety side there and just write in Javon Bullard right now, get it over with. Not to say that Anthony Johnson Jr. can't find his way onto this team. He was a guy that I kind of fell in love with last year, kind of had his ups and downs as a rookie. So, hopefully he has a great camp this year and finds a way. But I think Javon Bullard's gonna steal that spot. I really do.
Yeah, and think about this too. This is the nickel formation, right? This is what will be our nickel 4-2-5 essentially. If you take McDuffie off the field and you put Edgerrin Cooper on the field, right, you kind of feel like there's probably a good chance you're going to be better there. Although I think McDuffie played better than his 57.1 grade suggested. Me personally, It's very rare that I go back and watch the tape and then go to the PFF grade and go, I disagree with that. McDuffie, I feel like, played better than a 57.1. Now, the thing about PFF, it's all about consistency, right? That's the number one thing. So you got to take that with a grain of salt too. So when it comes to Javon Bullard, you brought him up, and I want to get Jacob's take because this is his boy here. Yes, you put him in Anthony Johnson Jr.'s place at the strong safety position in the base defense, right? But I think there's also a chance that maybe he slides down to the slot where Nixon is, where Nixon graded out as a 60.0, right, in the slot. If Bullard and Oladapo and who knows, maybe even Evan Williams, if they flash enough to say, hey, look, we trust them at strong safety as well. You heard Paul Brettel talk about they actually played deep safety some yesterday too at the mini camp. And again, that just goes hand in hand with what we've talked about, how at the NFL level, the free and strong safety have to be able to play high and low. It's very mix and match in that regard. But if you were to put Javon Bullard in the slot and you were to put Oladapo or Evan Williams at strong safety, that's a fun little set there too, isn't it, Jacob?
Yeah, and I think that people forget that Oladapo's like 6'2". You know, he's a bigger kind of guy. I wonder if there's any truth to the fact, like, remember, he was about the size and skill set. I shouldn't say skill set, about the size and kind of the same specs as Tariq Carpenter when he came out, right? And they had to have had a vision for Tariq Carpenter. They wouldn't have just drafted him just to be like, oh, he's kind of a safety, he's kind of a linebacker. I really do think they tried to maybe envision him in some sort of like hybrid role. And I wondered if maybe Oladapo ends up, sliding into that. I could definitely see Bullard. I mean, we're one injury away in that cornerback room from everything switching around. You know what I mean? Let's say if a Nixon goes down or something like that, then right away, I would have to imagine, you're putting Bullard in the slot. You're maybe throwing Oladapo back at strong safety. You still had Evan Williams for blitz packages. Like,
that's why the Kalen King pick is so valuable.
I was just gonna say, man, let's not forget about Kalen King, who is just champing at the bit.
You know,
and it is champing. It's not chomping.
Hey, I'll take it. Either way, man.
It'll be fun to see that battle because you got guys like, Val and Stokes trying to come back from this, injury debacle of the last, 18 months or whatever it is. He's got some competition. So you're going to get the best out of Kalen King this training camp, man.
Yeah. And I think that me personally, I like Ballantyne over Stokes right now, to be honest with you. Just based off of what I've seen out of Stokes. Now, he may come out completely healthy and light it up. Hopefully that's the case. But the fact that Stokes is kind of penciled in as that starting cornerback opposite Jair Alexander, at least according to PFF here, if you were to have to go to a backup, you've got Ballantyne, like you were saying, Tim, who had a full year of experience. You got Ballantyne, who's been in Green Bay for several years now, who I thought played – outside of Jair, he was our best cornerback last year. He played better than Ballantyne. You don't believe me? Go back and watch that Minnesota tape and watch him shut down Justin Jefferson. Like he went stride for stride with Justin Jefferson. So you really like the bottom side of the roster there, especially with the addition of Kalen King, like you guys just mentioned. Is Stokes the guy or not? Now, them declining the fifth-year option would suggest they don't think he is, but we'll see what happens in camp too. And who knows, man? We might be talking trade, Maybe they say we like Kalen, we like Ballantyne, we like Ballantyne. Stokes just hasn't showed it. Maybe they try to get something back for him. Maybe they try to trade him for a 4th or a 5th round pick, right? Be our luck, he'd go somewhere else and ball out. I'm not saying we should trade Stokes. I'm just saying that is something that's kind of an option here, being the last year of his contract, and it sounds like he's not in the future plans unless he balls out this year or unless he hits the market, gets no offers, which I doubt will happen based off of his physical ability just from a measurable standpoint, right, and what he did in the SEC playing man coverage. So it'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds for sure.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's PG.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
510 Whiskey declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Adam Block says, I'm pulling for Ballantyne. Me too, man. He's just one of those guys. He stays quiet. He seems humble, works his ass off, and he played pretty good ball last year, man. Like I said, go back and watch
his number 2. Sorry.
What's that?
Afam says that he's upset that Ballantyne changed his number. What did he change it to? I didn't
know. I didn't hear that.
Did you guys too by chance see that Marshawn Lloyd apparently was told that he can change his number once they get through training camp, and that it's possible that number 0 is on the table for him? I would personally love that.
I think it would be cool too.
Oh, Ballantyne's got Savage's old number. All right, so Ballantyne goes to number 26.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, as far as the number 0, I know they tried to give Jaden Reed number 1 last year, and that's reserved for Curly Lambeau. So 0, I think that's pretty much on the table, you know? So that would be cool. I'd be all right with that for sure, man. I'm not slim enough to pull that one off. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't pull a 0. I'd look like I had a donut on my belly button. You know what I'm screaming? It'd be bad. It'd be really bad. So, all right, there you go. You get belly button talk here on the pie tonight. Didn't have that on the bingo card. Off-season schedule. Let's hit this real quick. So this was on the Packers website. It says Green Bay, the NFL announced the dates of the Packers 2024 offseason workout program on Friday. Obviously, this was some time ago. I just wanted to revisit it. So obviously, Green Bay's offseason program will begin on Monday, April the 15th. Okay, so that's already passed and conclude in mid-June. All right, the program begins with meetings and strength and conditioning work, phase 1, continues with on-field group workouts, phase 2, and then progresses to organized team activities, also known as OTAs, for phase 3. The first week of OTAs are scheduled for May 20th, 21st, 23rd. Okay, so that's what, roughly 15 days away. We'll have the entire team, the majority of them that are coming in for the off-season program. I'm sure there'll be a couple knuckleheads that decide to stay away, but that's going to be coming up on the 20th of May. Then it'll continue again on the 28th, 29th, and May 31st. Then they'll be back in the building June 3rd, 4th, and 6th. And the Packers are slated to wrap up this year's offseason program with mandatory minicamp from June 11th through 13th. They'll take a break, and then when they return, guys, it's going to be training camp. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's right around the corner. It's creeping up on us big time here. We're at the 43-minute mark. I've held this article for several days, so we're going to go ahead and hit on it. I think this would be a kind of a cool conversation to have here. I'll try to get it over here. That ain't going to help, is it? We'll just kill the cam and I'll get closer. That's what we'll do. So this was released by Spot Track, whatever it is. Valuing 10 NFL contract extension candidates. Okay. So this is across the league. I think it's good this time of year. When people are doing their Mount Rushmores and what your favorite food takes, I think it's cool to kind of take a glance around the league and go, okay, where's the market at? What's everything look like? Right. So when you look at quarterbacks, essentially the top metrics that they're using here is average salary, $55 million. That was Joe Burrow. Total guaranteed is, and this is the top. This is the top of the heap here. Total guaranteed was also Joe Burrow at $219 million. Guaranteed at signing was also Joe Burrow, $146.5 million. And then 3-year cash span was $156 million. That was Lamar Jackson, I believe is who that is. So the 3-year cash is just simply how much cash are they making in a 3-year span. It is what it is there. So on the top of the list, they got Dak Prescott. So second on the list is Jordan Love. Let's compare Jordan Love's take here to Dak Prescott and Tua Tagovailoa. So Dak Prescott, it says Dak is entering the final year of his 4-year contract in Dallas, set to earn $34 million for the upcoming season. He holds a no trade clause, a no tag clause, and the Cowboys are set to take on $40.4 million in dead cap hit next March once his contract voids. So they've already used voidable years, it sounds like. Furthermore, all 3 quarterbacks currently on the roster are set to become unrestricted free agents after 2024, putting Dallas's future at the position in complete question right now. Dak Prescott is nearing free agency with maximum leverage. Stop me if you heard the story before. 4 years, $225 million is the calculated value there. So when let's go to Tua Tagovailoa, and then we'll come back up to Jordan Love. Tua Tagovailoa, 26 years old for the Miami Dolphins. It says Tua is entering his 5th season in Miami, set to earn a fully guaranteed $23.1 million option salary for the upcoming season. He put together his best season to date last year by a country mile, placing him on a 4-year, $198 million extension valuation. It seems highly unlikely that the Dolphins get a signature on anything less than $50 million per year, however. So that's kind of where he's sitting at, is 4 years, $198 million, with nothing less than $50 million per on average. So let's go to Jordan Love now. Now officially eligible for an extension, and they put in parentheses, there was a clause restricting him until May 2nd. The Packers are almost certain to lock in their QB1 before the start of training camp. Love is set to earn $11 million for the upcoming season as it currently stands. Adding another 4 years, $200 million to that number seems to make a lot of sense. So they've got it kind of sitting at 4 years, $200 million, that $50 million mark. How do we feel about that? Let's go around the horn there because I know how I feel. I don't want to sway anyone's opinion here with my opinion, but let's just go around. I'll start with you this time, Jacob. How do you feel about Jordan Love making 4 years, $200 million?
When I look at the number, I'm like, it's a big number. But when I look at this group of quarterbacks, even if you can include Trevor Lawrence there, I'd take Jordan Love over any one of these guys every single day of the week.
Completely agree.
Especially going forward. I've never been a big fan of Dak Prescott. That's just me personally. I think Trevor Lawrence is drastically underwhelmed compared to all the hype that he was getting.
Here we go.
Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff has actually, performed much better than I thought he would. And Tua has kind of just been, I think, bottom of the barrel kind of thing. So right now, I still see Jordan Love has a tremendous amount of ceiling that we haven't hit yet, to be honest. So, and I think the rest of these guys, we've already seen their ceiling. That's my opinion. So if Jordan Love is going in there, that 4 years, 200 mil, we knew it was going to be 50 mil. That was almost like a year or two ago. That's kind of what the going rate was going to be for your top of the top quarterback. So I say lock it in right now because by this time next year, that's going to be like 4 years, 55, 60 mil. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, absolutely. And the quicker you lock in that contract, you get them to the table quicker than the other guys because that's going to reset the market and the numbers are only going to go up. Get that out of the way now. Make it a 4 to 6 year deal. That way in 2 or 3 years, this is going to look like chump change with the way the cap continues to rise. I completely agree, Jacob. Tim, what do you think, bub?
Oh, man, come on, man. I've been carrying the Jordan Love torch for so long. I give him 10 years, $1 billion. Break the checkbook out. Give him 10 years, $1 billion. I don't care. Give him seriously. Lock in.
Tim said it ain't my money.
Let's go. I mean, you're right though. I mean, we have to look ahead to the future, and it's got to make sense as we spread it out over the next 4 to 6 years. But I think 4 years, $200 million is fair. But it's tough because I don't know who has quote unquote the most leverage in these negotiations. It's above my pay grade. But the math here seems to be mathing. So let's see.
Yeah, no, I agree. AFAM there, I'm going to hit on that comment real quick. AFAM says we have zero leverage, so pay whatever the market's at. I agree with what you're saying, AFAM, on a principality, from a principality standpoint. And what I mean by that is if you don't pay him and you play hardball and you completely destroy that relationship that you've got with Jordan Love, then you're going out looking for another quarterback, right? Now, as far as actual leverage from a technical standpoint, we've got leverage on him for 3 years. He's under contract this year. We've got 2 years we can franchise tag him. So he can't go anywhere for 3 years. But as we've seen with Devontae Adams, if you start talking franchise tag, you start playing hardball like that and not kind of pay someone their due, right? You can, that's where I agree with you, AFAM. We have zero leverage in that regard because if it gets to that point, you're really, as my old ball coach used to say, you're pissing in the wind. Most teams would kill to have a starting quality, caliber quarterback. Here we are with another one, and to kind of ruin that to play hardball over whatever it may be, 2 million, 5 million, 7 million total. Yeah. AFAM says, see if he'll accept in Dogecoin. I don't love it.
Sorry, I had to put that up. That's hilarious.
No, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and there you go. He also said we had a little more leverage before the playoffs. We had way more leverage before that Dallas game. And after that Dallas game, now Jordan's like, all right, boys, break the checkbook out. And listen, I'm not going to hold it against him. Go get your money, dude.
Yeah, he's earned every nickel.
Absolutely. Let's move on to wide receiver here. This is kind of cool. I won't read all of these, maybe just one here with Justin Jefferson, because that's the reason I wanted to hit on it. I just think it's cool to kind of look at the market and the wide receiver room across the league, knowing that the Packers are so well set up right now, having one of, if not the cheapest wide receiver rooms in the entire National Football League. Top metrics, average salary goes to Brown, $32 million. Who's Brown? I'm trying to think here. I wish they put the first name. Like they ain't got enough space here. Who would Brown be?
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Jake. So A.J. Brown Average salary $32 million, total guaranteed. AJ Brown $84 million. He just signed that a couple of days ago too, didn't he? He got some kind of extension with some new guaranteed money. Guaranteed at signing is Tyreek Hill at $52.5 million. 3-year cash is AJ Brown at $80 million. So yeah, they did. I heard Michael Lombardi talk about them giving him a bunch of guaranteed money.
Am I crazy that I don't know? That seems that's like AJ Brown's been good. I just don't know if he's resetting the market good. I don't know. That seems crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, man. It is. Do I think AJ Brown's worth it? I mean, he's their true number one receiver. He does tilt the field a bit. I think he is a number one receiver. But again, and you got to look at the old Bill Walsh saying too, wide receiver is the last thing you put in place. Philly made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, right? They've got a solid team. It kind of feels like if they're going to get it done, they're going to get it done now. Keep that guy around. While you're in that window, it kind of makes a little bit of sense to me, I think. But Justin Jefferson, let's read this little write-up on Justin Jefferson. This is the whole reason I wanted to hit this. A modern-day GOAT now knows who the next quarterback – the modern-day GOAT now knows who the next quarterback in Minnesota will be, is a historic extension for Justin Jefferson next on the Vikings to-do list. It's perfectly plausible that Jefferson and his camp would rather wait for CeeDee Lamb and or Jamar Chase to lock in their own deals before finalizing his own numbers. Exactly what we were just talking about with the quarterback position. Let those guys go first so it raises the bar even higher, right? But neither of those scenarios seem close to their respective finish lines. Adding 4 years and $140 million to his current $19.7 million guaranteed salary for 2024 seems like a logical floor here. So they're saying 4 years, $140 million. What does that come out to? Roughly $35 million, am I thinking right? $33 million per year. So, yeah, I think that would be right. Somewhere around that ballpark. Math's hard. I'm so glad we're not in that spot right there. And what's crazy about our receiver room, the reason I wanted to hit on this is like, the first guys to come up for contract for us, and it's going to be in a couple of years, is going to be Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. I don't think either of those guys have done anything to put them in the conversation here. I'm not trying to dog them, but I don't think you would say with what they've shown on the field, they're as good as Justin Jefferson. We would all agree with that, right? So with that being the case, their number is not going to be anywhere near this. So you got to kind of make a decision. All right, which one of these receivers do you want to pay? The problem for those two guys, and I love Dobby and I love Christian Watson, is you got Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed who have an extra year, right, of contract attached to their, to their time here in Green Bay. You could kind of afford to let those two guys walk, and that's really going to put the leverage, as opposed to the Jordan Love talk, it's going to put the leverage kind of in the Packers camp there. I don't know, man. It just makes me feel a lot better, Jacob, about the wide receiver room in Green Bay, dude.
Yeah, I think this is a good exercise because that was my thought process too. Is like, we all kind of complain, or maybe not complain, but we all acknowledge the fact that like, hey, we don't really have a standalone one. We don't have that true X kind of thing. But at the same time, then we don't got a guy we got to pay a massive bag to. And I'd hope that maybe between Watson and Dobbs that they aren't unrealistic, thinking like, hey, I deserve Brandon Ayuk money, Jamar Chase money. I think they'd hopefully be a little bit more humble and say, hey, I'd like to maybe get around and get another contract with this team for a respectable amount. And then they have another, however long, 2, 3, 4 years to work with Jordan Love, who in my estimation, they'd have to think would be one of the best quarterbacks to be throwing you the ball if you're a younger receiver. So, and then like you talked about, we have guys like Wicks and Bo Melton and even a few other ones that could possibly
Bose,
Malik Heath.
I mean, there's guys waiting in the wings. There's a lot of talent towards the bottom end of that receiver
room. Everywhere, man.
I almost hate calling it the bottom end of the receiving room.
They said the guy down at Cousins Subs can play receiver in Green Bay. No, that's just crazy.
Did you so Randy says, it's too bad that Watson's hurt a lot. I understand that. And did you see though that apparently now they have a drastically larger stretch time? They're stretching for about 18 to 20 minutes pre-practice for everybody. And I guess before it was anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes. So they are trying to do something a little different. And if you guys remember, for whatever reason, we were like the last 2 years that we cannot keep hamstrings. Like we just can't keep them. We're blowing hamstrings like whatever.
It's that and a lot of other factors too, right? Stay hydrated, make sure you're doing your your proper routines and, strength and conditioning. That's why they call it that. It's not just strength. It's not just, it's the all encompassing thing. So I think they probably we were probably slacking a little bit on the stretching routine, so let's double, triple up that time and hopefully reduce the nagging injuries. Cause like Jacob's saying, they've all been non-contact, just stepping funny, or you're running. I mean, I remember when even Aaron Jones, when he pulled up on that touchdown against the Bears, or almost touchdown against the Bears, and you're just running full speed and you pull something. It's like, man, you got to think that's something strength and conditioning related.
Yeah.
So let's knock that out.
Definitely. Eric Sutherland said, don't need a 1. We proved that. A true 1. I disagree with you, Eric. If it's a true 1 is like a Randy Moss that tilts the field. It makes them, if you guys watch the draft spectacular there on Pat McAfee with Bill Belichick, if you went back and watched it, and he talked about Randy Moss extensively. He talked about sitting down with Randy when they started talking the playbook and everything. They were drawing up stuff. Belichick is really, really hands-on with the offensive side of the ball in New England as well. And they were talking about how they would utilize them. And he said, yeah, well, when you get a post-safety look, what if we do this? And Randy looked at him and said, oh, you ain't going to get no post-safety look with me. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, he's like, no, it's going to be too high. They'll keep someone over the top. They'll keep too high the entire time. Right. And Bill Belichick said, I'll be damned if it didn't happen. He knew exactly what was going to happen. That's a true 1.
That's a 1, right? Yeah. Literally affects the balance of the game. Yeah.
Exactly. A true 1 isn't someone that's the highest paid wide receiver on the team, right? A true 1 is someone who tilts the field. And I agree with you in that regard, Eric, that you don't have to have that guy that you go, okay, he is better than everyone else on the team. Now, you give me one of those guys that tilts the field, that rolls the coverage and causes all those mismatches. Heck yeah, I'll pay every dime of it. It's worth it, right? But I love how we sit here, man. And like you said, Eric, not needing a 1, we proved that. Being able to mix and match and move the ball around, man. Last year was just phenomenal. It was. And just next man up mentality for sure. Let's see what
the true 1 kind of thing. Do you guys think there's any scenario? The more I watch Davante Adams interviewing, the more I can see that dude regrets leaving Green Bay. I really do think that. There's even talks now because they didn't do enough in the draft. They didn't get their quarterback. They were sitting there with another year of Aiden O'Connell. They said that if they were to trade away Davante Adams this year, it would even still help them in dead cap. Like they actually would benefit by trading him. The contract is so skewed for him. So
I love you, Jacob, but Tay's not coming back.
I don't want Tay to come back. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that guy regrets, I think, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
In the way he talks about Jordan Love and stuff. Like it's just.
I think if you got a couple Daddy Sodas in Tay, he'd probably say he regrets it. But at the same time, it's more than just, all right, what gives me the best opportunity to win? Like Tay played with one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the game, right? He got a chance to go back and play with his college buddy. Obviously, that completely crashed and burned. It could not have crashed and burned any worse for Davante Adams. You look up, your buddy's gone now, and now you're stuck. But he's closer to home. He's playing for his childhood team, and his family gets to watch him play more. There's a lot more to it than that, and he got the bag too, right? Again, if he had it to do all over again, I kind of look at it a little different. I wish Goody would have handled it different. Because I think if Goody hadn't came in, you guys understand the year before his final year, Goody offered him less than $20 million per. Yeah. Like that is an absolute slap. That's a kick in the Weibos is what that is. And again, Goody's a good GM though, man. Goody's going to remove the emotion, right? So I understand why Tay was ticked off. But at the same time, Jacob, I see what you're saying too, because I think if he did get a couple cold drinks in him, he's probably said, "Boy, I'd like to be in Green Bay right now."
Yeah, because he kept saying, like, I know what Jacob's talking about when he was like, Jordan Love's a effing baller, and you could just see how he was praising what's going on here. Like you can read between the lines, right? You can see that he probably wishes it turned out a little differently. Plus, I mean, we can't forget about all the service that he did for the community too, especially his time with the Department of Health and stuff.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, helping everybody through the pandemic there in Brown County.
Through the Rona, Thanks, Tay.
Deadfish says Jefferson is great. Talking about Justin Jefferson of the Vikings. Jefferson is great, but don't know if I want to pay $35 million a year for a receiver. I would rather not, but that's a good example. Justin Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in the league when he's healthy. I think we would all agree with that, right? He's at least top 5, maybe top 3 at a minimum, and possibly the best receiver in the game. Do you guys feel like you have to tilt the coverage? Do you feel like when we played them, we had to tilt the coverage? I just told you about Corey Ballantyne shutting him down, playing a deep third safety role in a zone defense, right?
Yeah, before that, Jair shut him down.
Right.
Manned up, followed him,
little gritty on the backside there.
Yep.
So
I mean, we had a little safety help, but not. I don't think we were always covered too, or too deep safety.
So this is the perfect example. Like he is a great receiver, but and again, listen, everyone's opinion is formulated off their past experience. We're Packer fans. We haven't seen Justin Jefferson come out and cause us to roll the coverage and tilt the field like that, right? So that would suggest to me that he's not worthy of that money, like Dead Fish is saying. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would disagree, but
do you think more of like a Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald in their prime? That was more of like the actual, like, we have to change what we're doing on defense to make sure these guys get stopped, whatever they're doing. Like,
even young prime Antonio Brown.
Yes. Antonio Brown was a menace. Bro. He's still a menace on Twitter if you're following him.
It used to be a menace on the field. Now it's behind the screen for sure.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, that guy's a fun follow on Twitter, though.
Bro, another one for me was O.J. Simpson before he passed away. Like just the comments on OJ's Twitter account when he got out of jail and he went on Twitter and I went to his Twitter. I'm like, oh, this app is free. Now it isn't free now, if you with the premium, but it's like, I can't believe this is better than anything on cable because he would just put a random nice tweet out and everyone in the comments, that's a killer take, OJ. Stuff like it was just like, and I'll be damned if I was going to make a comment because I was afraid he was going to block me. I'm like, I need this entertainment. This dude is just, it's just wild. So yeah, Antonio Brown right now, though, he's wearing the crown, man. Keeps hashtagging CTESPN. Is that what he keeps?
Yes, he does. And he really goes hard on Shannon Sharp
all the time, bro. Oh my God. If Shannon ever catches him in public, he's going to choke him out.
That reminds
me one dude not to be played with. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Big
old boy.
I wouldn't mess with Shannon Sharp. Never. Yeah.
What was you going to say, Jacob?
Oh, nothing. I just remember the best moment ever was at the ESPYs when Norm Macdonald was like, Charles Woodson, you got the Heisman Trophy, and nobody can ever take that away from you, unless, of course, you kill your wife and the waiter, and then all bets are off.
Everybody was
like, on Charles Woodson's face, he's just like,
oh, man. By the way, I don't know if you guys get into those kind of documentaries, but there's one that's called OJ Made in America. And it's like a 5 or a 7-part series, really, really well done. It takes you back into the 90s and kind of what society was like and around sports and just how beloved OJ was. I can't believe we're sitting here talking about OJ Simpson on Packers podcast. Hey, here we are.
Look, we lost some viewers. Look at that.
Sorry, yeah, we tried. You should have known how mediocre it was when you heard my accent on the open. So
we went from Antonio Brown to OJ. We're done. We're done.
We're out, guys. That's it. That's all we got.
Brought to you by Ticket King. No.
Ticket King's like, no, it ain't.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, man.
You guys got anything else? What you say?
I said, never mind. Brought to you by Home Depot.
Right. Oh, man. This show sucks. What else y'all got? You got anything else, fellas?
No.
All right.
What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Let's set the hook on these listeners for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, we're going to get into the 5th-year option discussion and all these decisions that just took place on the 5th-year options. I think it would be really cool to kind of see, all right, where's the number sitting right now? We know it's only going to go up, but I'd like to see where the number's sitting. And I've got Marshawn Lloyd chalk talk ready to go too. So I think what we'll do.
You sure you don't want to hit on Aaron Hernandez real quick while we're at it?
I've actually watched several documentaries on Aaron Hernandez as well. So got plenty of info there too. Man, absolutely wild. How did we get here? That's what
I don't know. I want to go home.
Keep it going. All right, we're out. Tomorrow, though, we'll be talking a little more contract, maybe a little more roster eval. May get into Marshawn Lloyd talk. We'll see. Obviously, the guys are on a break until another 15 days. We'll have the schedule release coming up Thursday. So, yeah, what do you guys want to do? Would you guys rather do a show like this where we just kind of deep dive some of the roster eval as well as the contract situation, or would y'all rather do Chalk Talk Marshawn Lloyd tomorrow?
I would kind of like to maybe try to. We don't have to deep dive, but maybe just try to see if there's any UDFAs that could possibly land on this squad and actually make the team. I know there was a couple wide receivers that we signed, and one of them I thought used to play for the Packers in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. His dad did.
Okay.
So I didn't know if we could try and take a peek at some. I know there's that one guy from Eastern Kentucky that I really hope makes this team. He's got the beard. He's got the look.
He's got the beard.
Yeah, man.
But the UDFAs that are on the Packers roster right now, right?
They could possibly make the 53.
Yeah.
Jacob's on the phone with their agents like, okay, so what is his beard like?
I
know his RAS is over an 8, but what is his beard like?
How does he feel about Milwaukee Tools? And did he think OJ did it? That's what we need to know.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh my God.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think that'd be a good conversation. Jacob, why don't you put a little list together, and we'll kind of let you lead that. I'll focus on the 5th-year contract list there with Spot Track, and anything else we come up with, we'll hit on too. But that'd be good. And then we'll hold the Marshawn Lloyd Chalk Talk until another day or two. So, sound good?
Right. I'll wait another day or two on it.
All right. It's fun. It's going to be a good one to watch for sure. If you guys would, before we get out of here, hit that like button for us so other Packer fans can find this channel, find this content. If you're watching on Twitter, feel free to click on my Twitter profile, X profile, I apologize. You'll see a YouTube link that'll send you to the YouTube channel where you can subscribe there, hit a like there if you want. But we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. You look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.